Governor Polis, First Gentleman and Professor Reis, Chancellor Hafner, Provost Clark, faculty and staff colleagues, friends and supporters. Good morning and welcome. My name is Bruce Smith, and in my role as the 20th Dean of the Sturm College of Law, I am delighted and frankly deeply moved to welcome you to one of this campus's most glorious locations on what is a very special and celebratory day. In 1881, the future U.S. Supreme Court Justice Oliver Wendell Holmes observed in his book, The Common Law, that even a dog distinguishes between being stumbled over and being kicked. Unfortunately, Holmes' analysis was about humans, not about non-human animals, specifically on the intent required of humans to be convicted of criminal offenses. But 140 years later, the science has revealed that Holmes was right. And I mean right about dogs, not about humans. In 2021, an interdisciplinary team of German researchers published findings in the internationally acclaimed journal Scientific Reports regarding the capacity of dogs to accurately determine the intentions of humans. In the experiment, 51 dogs of various breeds and ages, with the consent of the owners and under protocols administered by the University of Göttingen, were subjected to 3 different conditions. In one condition, called the unwilling condition, the experimenter intentionally withheld a tasty treat from the canine participant. In the other 2 conditions, which were called the unable conditions, the experimenter withheld the treat unintentionally, first by clumsily dropping the treat, and in a second instance by seeking to convey it to the dog, but being interfered with by a barrier wall. Based on the documented behaviors of the dogs, which included the relative degree of tail wagging of the dogs in the 2 conditions, the research team concluded that dogs do not merely respond to the actions of humans, but have the capacity to correctly discern their underlying mental states. This capacity, sometimes viewed as a foundational aspect of the theory of mind, is one that has traditionally been viewed as distinctive to humans. Not so anymore. Those of us who love dogs and spend much of our lives with them will not be surprised to learn of those cognitive and emotional capacities. But it is perhaps more startling to know that our evolving understanding includes animals that have no history of interaction with humans. Neuroscientists at the University of Cambridge have determined that African gray parrots have the neurological basis to generate consciousness. And research undertaken at the London School of Economics has definitively concluded that even mollusks and crustaceans, animals that we have long viewed, and I will say perhaps optimistically, as lacking the capacity to experience pain, actually do so. And based on those findings, the United Kingdom has established heightened protections with respect to the handling and treatment of lobsters, crabs, and octopuses. The Institute for Animal Sentience and Protection at the University of Denver seeks to advance our understanding of the evolving capacities of non-human animals and to advance their protection that results from this evolving understanding. And I submit to you that that grand project could really only be done at a place like the University of Denver, a place dedicated to tackling complex interdisciplinary challenges under the leadership of our 19th Chancellor, Dr. Jeremy Hafner, an institution with a stellar faculty, led in this case by Professors Phil Tedeschi and Justin Marceau, who with other colleagues have driven this university to its well-deserved Research 1 status, to a culture of collaboration between units, in this case between the Sturm College of Law and the Graduate School of Social Work, represented in this event by Acting Dean Kim Bender, and throughout the collaboration by Dr. Amanda Moore McBride, and incredible philanthropy from a donor in Cheyenne, Wyoming, a veterinarian, an animal advocate, a dog owner, and a dog lover, Dr. Robert Brinkman. Dr. Brinkman cannot be here today. The roads in Cheyenne are very difficult. It's in the mid-20s in Cheyenne, but he is here profoundly in spirit. And I want to thank him collectively, in absentia, for his extraordinary, generous, and visionary commitment. We will be having this video shared with him, and I invite you to join me in a round of applause for him. Writing in 1780, right at the outset of the English Age of Reason, the English philosopher Jeremy Bentham observed that the fundamental question was not whether animals could reason, but whether they could suffer. We now know more fully than ever before that animals both reason and suffer, and that suffering is too often a byproduct of our human ignorance, of our indifference, and frankly, of our arrogance. I am grateful to live in a state whose political leaders care deeply and earnestly about the well-being of animals. And I'm proud to serve as a dean and faculty member at a university whose commitment to the public good extends not only to humans, but to non-human animals, beings that undeniably merit our understanding, our compassion, and our care. It is now my privilege to introduce the Chancellor of the University of Denver, Dr. Jeremy Haefner.
Well, thank you, Bruce. As Dean Smith was sharing a wide variety of information about animal sentience and, of course, the interactions between humans and ourselves, I couldn't help but think about my own personal experiences with the animals that we have come to love and the stories and memories that they have given us in light of this wonderful institute that we're announcing today is profound. Just in casual conversations, I was recalling many a time when our family dog, Gromit, would have opinions about which direction to go when we came to an intersection. So this notion of sentience is very, very real to me. Governor Polis, First Gentleman Reis, thank you so much for attending this very special event. But especially thank you for your commitment to animal welfare and raising this issue across our state, a state that loves the outdoors, a state that is deeply committed to supporting animal welfare in a variety of ways. So thank you so much. Now, Governor Polis, if you'll excuse me, I am going to focus primarily on the First Gentleman Reis because I know so much that he has been a keen champion for animal welfare. First Gentleman Reis, thank you for your leadership on this. I look forward to hearing your thoughts as they are shared later today. But your commitment to this topic is inspiring, and you're making a deep, deep impact in this area through legislation and policy making with the deep support, of course, of Governor Polis. So I thank both of you along the way. Lending your voice to this topic is so important, and we're grateful for that. And as Dean Smith mentioned, we are grateful to Dr. Robert Brinkman for his generosity and his vision that he brought to this opportunity for us. So while we miss him here today, he is with us in spirit. Finally, I want to thank Dean Smith and Dean Amanda McBride. And this is truly an exciting part of this for me as Chancellor, because one of the strengths of the University of Denver is our incredible world-class faculty that we are so fortunate to have here. And when we take the combined expertise of our faculty from the Sturm College of Law, renowned for its work in the legal affairs, combining it with the Graduate School of Social Work and its tremendous impact that it's having both locally, across the state, and across the nation. And crossing barriers, magic happens. And it is hard work to work across boundaries, as we all know. But this is a great example of the interdisciplinary work that we're so proud of. So to Phil Tedeschi, in the Institute of Human and Animal Connection at the Graduate School of Social Work, and to Justin Marceau for his work in the animal law and the Sturm College of Law. I thank you for your work, because it is hard work to come across boundaries, and you're setting a great example for the university as we move forward. This is a perfect example of the university's vision to become a great private university dedicated to the public good. This topic is so important to all of us as citizens of the great state of Colorado. So it is an example of the public good in action. And I know that in the future, this Institute for Animal Sentience and Protection is going to have long-lasting impact across our state and across our country, because this is a topic that we excel at, and we're on the very cutting edge. I see it changing education, changing our research as we move forward. So I am so pleased to be a part of this exciting event today. Governor Polis, I now want to invite you up to the podium and give us your thoughts about this institute. And again, thank you so much for joining us. It's great to have your leadership in the state of Colorado.
Thank you. You know, Chancellor, it seems like every time I come to DU, you're winning a hockey game, or you started an outdoor recreational program, now starting another new great program. It's great to applaud all that you bring to our great state of Colorado. Good morning, everyone, and congratulations on the exciting occasion. Creating a new institute like this requires a lot of work from a lot of people, and I don't know all of you, but I suspect that you all had something to do with this day and played an important role, and will play an important role going forward in the success of this institute. I want to recognize Professors Tedeschi and Marceau, who I see here and have gotten to know, and of course my husband, Professor Marlon Reis, who co-taught a course with Professor Marceau. Dean Smith, Dean McBride, thank you again for hosting this. Here at DU, you're really fostering an environment that allows for deeper research and livelier conversation about animals, an interesting area of law, the lives they lead, how we humans can better interact with them. Denver University's Institute for Animal Sentience and Protection is an opportunity for Colorado to really become known nationally and internationally for the work in this emerging area. We talk a lot about the Colorado way of life, a Colorado for all in which everybody can thrive. Cherishing and protecting Colorado for all has certainly been the focus of my administration the past 4 years. And that means, of course, our majestic landscapes, our outdoor spaces, our people. It also means our animals, our abundant wildlife, our domestic animals. People come here from all over to see and experience Colorado. And of course, the interactions between animals and humans continue to increase as the demographics change and more people live in the wildland-urban interface. And learning about the motivations and how to reduce negative impacts from human-wildlife interactions is a key part of this work that I hope to be able to see, and hopefully can lead to actionable plans to reduce human-wildlife interactions, everything from trash cans being destroyed to predation of domestic animals. Colorado is home to so many different ecosystems, in fact, 8 distinct ecosystems. We support over 750 vertebrates, grazers like bighorn sheep, that's our state animal. Of course, predators like mountain lions, bears, coyotes, and wolves. Farmed animals, domestic animals, many animals call Colorado home. And of course, from a state perspective, animals need a place to live. We're focused on protecting ecosystems, including that land and where animals call home so future generations can really enjoy and thrive in our great state of Colorado. This institute is a natural complement to the work that we need to do around animals. As a data-driven person, from my time in business to my time as governor, I always really believe in the use of data to drive results, and this institute will do the same. We'll use data, collecting critical data, scientific evidence, learning more about Animal Sentience, about the connections between humans and animals, the abilities of animals to feel and understand one another, and what that means from a legal perspective. Of course, like many of you, and like most residents of Colorado, we experience this personally in our family. At home, Marla and I and our kids witness every day the complex emotional life of our dog, first pup, Gia, who Marlon will talk more about. You don't want to get on her wrong side. She definitely has her opinions about everything. Now, it's easy to recognize sentience in dogs and cats. People and dogs have lived together for a very, very long time. And of course, we see their unique personalities up close. Those of you who've had different dogs across your lifetime, we see them up close and personal as members of our family. But of course, the list of animals with degrees of sentience continues to grow, and new data shows in different ways how sentience and the animal kingdom go together. The opening of the new institute here at the University of Denver, by the way, I would add, along with the longstanding work of the university's other signature programs, including the Institute for Human-Animal Connections and the Animal Law Program, together really help put DU on the map in this field, and will help Colorado become a real leader, thought leader in this space. I'm excited for DU expanding their footprint in this important work. We thank Dr. Robert Brinkman and Absentia for making this historic investment. Hopefully he'll get to visit and feel part of this as well. It's really an exciting frontier to learn about how all these things work together. And I think there's a lot of synergy between the Institute for Human-Animal Connection, the Animal Law Program, and the new program being announced today. There's a lot of ways that they can inform one another from a legal perspective, from a scientific perspective. And I, for one, along with many in the state of Colorado, really look forward to the work that will occur here at the University of Denver. With that, I'd like to introduce a true champion of animals and their well-being, also somebody who's taught at DU, who's dedicated his public service to supporting creatures wild and domestic across Colorado, across the country, and across the world. I'm honored to introduce my husband, First Gentleman Marlon Reis.
Got to look good for the camera. Thank you so much, Governor Jared. I know him as Jared, so thank you, Jared, so much. It's wonderful to be here today with all of you. In particular, I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to Dean Smith and Chancellor Hafner for your visionary leadership, Professors Tedeschi and Marceau for the superb caliber of scholarship that you have established at the Graduate School of Social Work, the Institute for Human-Animal Connection, and the Sturm College of Law, and Dr. Robert Brinkman for leading this effort with a most generous legacy gift, which is in dedication to the non-human animals with whom we share our planet, and in furtherance of the understanding that we are interconnected in ways both seen and unseen, and in studying them, we study ourselves, the unique ways in which each of us experiences life, and how those experiences are no less important simply because they are distinct from one another. In human society, we treasure uniqueness. We take pride in our individuality and elevate the act of interpretation to an art form. We understand that diversity is to be celebrated. It is the totality of our everyday experiences that we come to develop. It is through that totality that we come to develop a worldview and thereby an identity. So it is in non-human societies the world over, wherein one finds each species living and experiencing life through its own unique lens. Today, we recognize the University of Denver for embarking once again on a mission of discovery. The Institute for Animal Sentience and Protection is a wonderful acknowledgement that the experiences of non-human lives are worthy of study precisely because they occur in such dazzling variety. The value of living derives not from its uniformity, but from its multiplicity. Together with the Institute for Human-Animal Connection, the Animal Law Program, and now the Institute for Animal Sentience and Protection, the University of Denver contributes greatly to this profoundly important work, not only on behalf of all who come to teach and learn here, but in the world beyond, where your research and discoveries without question, will form the basis for curiosity, respect, even admiration for the animals with whom we share our world. And it is unquestionable that as we further develop our understanding and appreciation for non-human lives, so too will our relationship with the natural world evolve towards coexistence. Live and let live in action. I remember as a child sitting for hours on end to watch my family cat Callisto as she stood with her front paws on our living room windowsill and gazed out at what? Something so captivating that it held her in rapt attention as the minutes and hours passed by. Often I would gingerly make my way to sit beside her, hoping to see what she saw, or perhaps it was to hear what she heard. Who can say? All I know is that animals lead rich and fulfilling lives when, as humans, we allow them to be themselves. Years later, as a grown-up, if not entirely in mind, at least in years lived, the governor and I adopted, as the governor mentioned, our beloved dog, Gia. And for the past 13 and a half years, it has been the highlight of my days to be by her side as we've gone on our daily walks, which I would more aptly describe as adventures. Why? Because even though we may have paced the same sidewalks, hiked the same trails, and spent hours in the same parks, we've never lived the same day twice. Every time we ventured out into the world, I watch in admiration as she chooses where to take us. You can tell things have changed in the hours between yesterday and today. Others, human and non-human, have come and gone, leaving behind evidence that they were there, that only Gia can tell. And it's not only the imprints of people and other animals that reveal change, but nature itself. The air smells different, the sun shines differently on the outstretched branches of the trees overhead. The ground feels different to walk upon. Fallen leaves and windswept landscapes reshape our yesterdays, grounding us in the here and now. If it's not yet obvious, I am very much in awe of Gia's experience in the world and of all animals' experiences in the world. Just as my childhood cat saw and heard things I could not, Gia gives me hints about the world she experiences every time she chooses a different path to pursue, a place to linger, and some days when she simply turns us back to return home. What is she seeing, hearing, smelling, feeling? Once more, I put to you that question, who is to say? All I know is that the world as she experiences it is rich and complex and never the same. Her eagerness to get out the door in the morning actually reminds me that there is much more to life than the four walls that so often box us in and cut us off from the natural world outside. We have much to learn from animals, and we don't have to be the same to justify being here. How I feel does not define the limits of how you feel, nor then should it be the metric by which we measure how non-human animals feel. Life exists in so many ways, and that is what excites me each day when I ready myself to get up, go to work, and talk about why animals deserve to be here and to be protected, to be acknowledged as fellow travelers on the road of life. We know that non-human animals lead rich emotional lives through our own senses and sensations, anecdotally, as we've talked about, but science gives us the proof. They feel joy, sorrow, empathy, even embarrassment. Much of what we now know is thanks to the research and forever impactful work of my good friend and colleague who is here with us today, Colorado's own Dr. Mark Beckoff. Prairie dogs, yes. I had to give you a call out. Shout out, Mark. Prairie dogs speak a complex language, form tight-knit social networks, and have a sense of home and family. Bison practice democracy, studies showing that they more often elect female leaders. Maybe we could learn a thing or two. Elephant society is matriarchal, and we have long known the complexity of how they live and love and mourn their deceased. Bees choose physical expression, dancing, to communicate the location of food. There are so many other examples of the animals with whom we share our planet in which to recognize sentience. Horses, pigs, dogs, cats, elephants, ravens, the list goes on and on and on. Our own species is just beginning to comprehend life as it is lived through the senses and feelings of other animals. But in this work, we too gain better understanding of our own role in nature and the important part we must play in protecting its balance. DU has always been at the forefront of this essential understanding that as humans, we are very much part of a global ecosystem, and that life takes on meaning not by how we control it, but by how it surprises and delights us in a world of seemingly infinite possibilities. Discovery is what wakes us up each morning, and discovery is what lulls us into dreaming each night. So it is for animals, so it is for all of us. The Institute of Animal Sentience and Protection is a wonderful affirmation that this work matters, and once again, I want to express my gratitude to the University of Denver for being home to research and scholarship that is motivated by wonderment, curiosity, and respect for the natural world. And now it is my great honor to introduce my good friend and one of DU's finest, Professor Philip Tedeschi.
Professor Reis, you're a hard act to follow. I just have a few words, and then we'll take a short break, and we'll come back and have an incredible lecture from Dr. Alexandra Horowitz. So I'm a professor at the Graduate School of Social Work, and for the social workers in the room, it's not news, but maybe for the rest of you, social workers tend to think in systems, and I want to do a few thank yous, starting with our larger systems down to some individuals. Thank you to the governor, and Marlon has become such a great colleague and friend. I think we should explore maybe a third term for maybe the Polis administration. That'll probably be in the news. No, in all seriousness, Governor Polis is just an incredible leader, and having had the honor of working with him closely the last few years, really does think very carefully about the interaction between the human and non-human residents of Colorado, and we're moving that agenda forward with his leadership. And Marlon, you've just been one of the most incredible advocates for the animals that don't get to go to the ballot box, and yet I think are really truly represented in the state of Colorado. So thank you for everything you do each and every day. It gives me hope getting up each morning knowing that you and Governor Polis are on the job. So I also want to thank the University of Denver and the Graduate School of Social Work. Those of you who have been aware of the work we've been doing with the Institute for Human-Animal Connection, and now this new institute, and the work that my colleague Justin Marceau has led at the law school. These are unique. We're the very first university to focus on human-animal bond related issues that were not part of a veterinary program or a large land grant university. These were new perspectives, and we're each and every day moving that agenda forward. So I want to just thank the school, my school, the Graduate School of Social Work, and the University of Denver for being so visionary and so supportive of that work over time. I've got incredible colleagues all over the university, and looking out here, all of you have contributed to this work in critical ways. And so with my colleague, Dr. Kevin Morris, who's leading our Institute for Human-Animal Connection, and all my incredible colleagues there who really are shaping that program, I look forward to continuing to work with you in the future. I also just want to thank my family who's here, some of them. When you have a passion, some people might call it an obsession, it has consequences, in everyday kind of practical ways, that you only know how to talk about one topic, for example. That's what it's a little bit like living with me, probably, and I love you and appreciate you. And then, there's many team members that I can't mention all of them, but they literally are the critical aspects to running any effective program. And some of them are here, many of them are not here. Some of my greatest colleagues who have, furthered the success of these programs. I hope that they feel proud of the work that we're doing here each day. Mark, I want to thank you for being a mentor to me for many years, and you're not done yet. So thank you for the guidance that you've given. For those of you who don't know Mark Beckoff, he's probably, arguably, one of the single most tenacious advocates for animals. He really is. Mark has kind of won the scientific argument that, that animals, actually knowing them as individuals, is in fact improving the science of understanding our relationship with non-human animals versus the alternative, which was intentionally not knowing them as individuals, right? So Mark has won that hands down, I'd say. So you've been... you're a champion. I haven't drank the scotch yet, though. So I do want to say just one other quick thing. We have, this is Photography Month, and we have the renowned photojournalist, animal photojournalist, Joanne MacArthur, who's standing right there. She did a talk last night at the governor's mansion, and there's at least two more chances to see her work this week on campus, one being tomorrow night at the art school, starting at 5:30, and then on Thursday at Davis Auditorium at 6. These are free events, but if you, and these are directly related to new strategies for truly understanding the emotional lives of animals, is through the work of photojournalists who are doing this very important work. So I hope you'll get to know Joanne's work and support her program, We Animals Media, also, which is just an incredible resource. So thanks to each of you for being here today. I hope you'll come back in just a few minutes because we have a fantastic talk, and then I'll introduce Dr. Horowitz here in just a few moments. Thanks.